I can't believe it's actually already September, so the summer is almost over. So far everything's been working out. What we're doing today is I'm going to do a little bit of a real-time painting, and it's pretty much just going to be me talking you through it. And I want to touch on a couple of topics that's very important to me as well. So we'll jump right in and start the video, and you'll hear me rambling about random stuff, basically things that affect me as an artist and things that I care about other people as well. So I get some questions that I want to be able to touch on. Yeah, basically a lot of things that occupies my mind, and I want to just get it out. Here I usually do around 6 or 7 thumbnails, complete black and white, and I'll do them in a way that it is composed through light and shadow. So very opaque brushes, and I'll do, you get the concept of thumbnail sheets. You do a whole bunch of these, you pick the ones you like, and you develop it a little bit further. So I just copy and pasted something I did really quickly. This one probably took about 10 or 15 minutes at most. When you use custom brushes and you get really comfortable using them, it'll speed up the process considerably. So I wanted to copy and paste this into my canvas. I go to channel box and I duplicate it on any channel that I want, green, red, it doesn't matter because it's all the same, it's black and white. I duplicate it, I level it, I control click on the thumbnail, and that will make a selection of the only whites. All the white area is going to be selected, the black areas are going to be left out. And I click back on the RGB channel, I come back to my layer panel here, and I'm able to use that selection to create masks. So I'll start a new layer on top, create that mask, click on the mask icon over there, and here you can see I made 2 masks. One is, negative, the other one's inverted, so that I have one layer where I can paint right into the blacks, and the other one I can paint into the bright areas. I find that this is a really quick way for me to start. Just simply lock the transparency so that you get that value locked down, and you just go right into it to brush some simple colors, whatever you feel like. This one, it's a jungle. I got a mech standing inside of a jungle, so I'm going to use a little bit earthy colors, a lot of greens, a lot of browns, some blue in the background. What the color you start with doesn't really matter that much. In fact, I'm trying to explore a little using a lot of very bright yellows. Basically the idea is to get something started really quickly so that you can jump onto detailing things or developing the mech, how it looks, and the fun stuff. Thumbnails, I touch on this a lot. There has been a stage where I start paintings without doing thumbnails at all. I just start the painting and I'll explore, and sometimes it's kind of trying to do everything at once, and it happens not quite as good as if you were to separate all the steps. So if you do the concept stage and then you can pick and choose between 6 of your designs, versus if you choose to start a painting right off, then you only have one choice. And a lot of times my first choice is not always the best. In fact, it's almost always the worst. So you need that little bit of extra process to get your hand warmed up. And that's why I feel like this is something that if you have time to do, you should definitely just warm up, do 5 or 6 thumbnails, and use the thumbnail sheets that you have. Some of the viewers ask me, how do I decide what colors to use? There's really not much decision making in the initial coloring stage. When you do the thumbnails, you pretty much know where the setting is going to be. For this one, it's a jungle, so you can choose between day and night, and just brush some colors in and start to develop it from there. here I have a lot of yellow, a lot of greens. You're not deciding exactly all the color that you're going to use, but a lot of the times you start with one and then you start to add other adjacent colors, and then maybe you'll decide to use a complementary for the focal point or create color contrast. And those are all the decisions you're going to make along the way. You don't have to be 100% sure when you start something like this. Value, I think, is a lot more important than just color. You can describe a painting completely with value, but if you don't have values correctly painted, then the colors are not really going to help that much. I tried to do these videos, so I know when I started, I watched a lot of videos of people painting. I followed Finzu, I followed Dylan Cole, I followed Baron Terry, all the guys that I look up to, and they're still some of the best artists in the industry. So I think just even when you get stuck or you need motivation, watching some of these things kind of help you to get your own motivation going, get your blood pumping, and you start painting more. Not every painting that you make is going to be awesome. And a lot of paintings that I paint has been complete shit, and I throw them out. No one will ever see them. Actually, when I was in college, I decided to put them up because I thought I was all the shit. I wasn't really. Those paintings, if you go back to, I don't know, if I still have a DeviantArt page, and God forbid there's some shit that I haven't deleted, there's some pretty disgusting looking stuff that I painted back in college, but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna tell you a story, and this is how I sort of started to do this thing professionally. After high school, I was teaching in the what they call a cyber arts camp, where I teach flash animations, and I taught that flash animation class like I was the best animator ever. I was a bit cocky. I knew what I was doing, and I thought no one else, I won awards doing flash animations. This is a cakewalk, no problem. So I did that for about 2 months. I saved up a bit of money, bought my first Wacom tablet, and that's where I started to go on this road. And I decided, hey, I think I'm okay at flash animation, so I'll go into Sheridan. I decided to go into Sheridan. I made that portfolio, which is pretty difficult for me because they required fundamental skills as an artist, as a painter. So you needed to know how to sketch. You needed to know how to sketch. You needed to know the basics of, like simple stuff, drawing an egg, drawing animals, designing a character, drawing in volumetrics, which I know nothing of. I was a pseudo graphic designer who wanted to act all cool because I was making websites with Flash, So I was on the waiting list. I didn't even get in the first batch. But after 2 months of waiting, all my friends got into Sheridan animation. I was still on the waiting list until the very end, when I guess they didn't have enough people or something. By some sort of miracle, I was put into the animation program. And that felt pretty bad. That felt like, what is going on? I mean, I was all cool and everything in high school. Everyone looked up to me in high school. Why am I doing so shit here? And I realized this isn't really about me. Nothing in this school, nothing about this field is about me as an artist. It isn't. You go into school and you realize it's about this entire industry. No one gives a shit if you're the best in the class. No one even cares who you are if you're just painting something and you're acting all, tough to your classmates or stuff like that. I had to grind it out because I almost failed my life drawing classes in the beginning. I knew nothing. I had my friends basically give me a crash course in 2 days about how to life draw because I had no idea. In fact, I've never held a Conte or a charcoal stick in my life before I got it to Sheridan. And there was life drawing classes. And life drawing classes was one of the best things that happened to me. It introduced me to this whole world of fundamentals that I completely missed being an arrogant graphic designer or something like that. The people that I worship, the things that I cared about are completely out of sync to actual art making. I wanted to be, in that moment, I was thinking to myself that I need to decide who I want to be, because this whole animation thing and this whole painting, it's not, I only had enough energy to make one thing happen. I knew I'm not gonna be able to do all this. This is pretty difficult for me. Even at a young age, I was thinking, hey, this is pretty crazy. I was getting, I don't know, low 70s or 60s in life drawing, and that wasn't cool. And everyone was better than me. So I had to have a sort of like a revelation there, just thinking about what am I actually gonna do. And I guess the way I lucked out is that I had a good teacher, I had a good mentor who I went to bug them relentlessly, and they were pretty cool about it. You know, they gave me this crash course. A lot of the other guys went through what's called an arts fundamental program where they're taught the fundamentals. I was never taught the fundamentals. In fact, I don't even know how to hold a Conte stick correctly. I wasn't aware that it was the correct way to holding it. I didn't know how to sharpen it. I was a complete noob. And that was only 4 or 5 years ago. What happened after was not even a story to tell. It's really, everyone should be expecting this right now. There's no secret. There's no shortcuts or quick ways or something that can tell you that will suddenly make you a better artist. In fact, I don't even know if something that I know is anything that you guys don't know. So I'm doing this video and painting alongside with everyone because this is something I enjoy, and seriously, I don't think I can do anything else. I can't sing. I don't dance very well. I'm trying. But if this is something that I can find a place doing, then there's no reason why any of you guys watching the video can't. Because there's really no talent involved in what I'm doing here in I don't know, this video or my last piece or any of the designs that I made for Legendary Pictures or I don't know, Pacific Rim. There's no talent involved. And I say this, maybe some of you won't agree with me, but I knew exactly what I did to get here, and everyone can do that. It's replicable. I'm not even a successful artist because I'm in a small apartment and I'm living with my friends, and there are people, I don't know, doing accounting, making more than I am. There are people, I don't know, doing a lot of different things that requires no creativity, but they're very more well off. I do this one thing because it's the only thing that I can do. I can't do math, really. Someone tells me to do accounting, I might as well just, I don't know, pay someone else to do it and I'll be poor. What I'm saying is, in the first 2 years of Sheridan, I went to every single extra life class there was. There was 2 sessions, maybe a day, and then after those 2 sessions, I went to a third one from a different program. Maybe the illustration had one, maybe the art fundamentals had one. You don't stop. I didn't stop because I know it was shit. If I did stop, then I must have been pretty crazy, because how do I get on top? How do I get better than everyone else? I know I'm not, so you gotta work harder. I worked my ass off. With my friends here, we went to, I don't know, 2 or 3 sessions. One session is 3 hours, by the way. So we go through newsprint pads like it's free. And it actually costs a lot of money. But we ended up having stacks about as tall as like a meter tall after a semester, just newsprint pads after newsprint pads, and eventually it got very expensive. We started to use the back of the newsprint pads, and then we started drawing over our old paintings, our old drawings. So you get 5 figures on 1 page and stuff like that, and all of these stuff are thrown out. These are not pieces that you keep. None of these little drawings are pieces that we cherish and we keep. You get good one once in a while, but you're training your hand so much that you're not thinking anymore. You're just reacting to the poses, reacting to the light, the anatomy, everything. And that wasn't the end of it, because after the life drawings, we have painting classes. We had painting classes where they just did gouache paintings and some environment painting stuff in watercolor. That wasn't enough for me. I think I was good at layout. That's what they call environment stuff. They call it layout. So I thought I was good at layout, and figured maybe this is an area that I want to pursue a little bit further. And I did. And I made life drawing and layout my focuses when I was back in doing what I was doing. It didn't take long. I still have that $500 Wacom Intos 3, and it will never break. From the day I bought it about 7 years ago, it has never really skipped a day. But so after the live drawings, we just go to the computer labs, and you paint. You just endlessly paint random stuff, paint cityscapes, sci-fi, whatever. And that was no trick. That was pretty hardcore stuff for a while. Basically every day like that for 2 or 3 years. And then by the end of the first or the start of the second year, I start to get people emailing me, because I was posting on DeviantArt, I think, back then, and then my own portfolio. I was posting stuff, and people emailing me, hey, can you do this for me? Can you draw this thing out for me? And yeah, of course. Yeah, sure, I'll do it. My first couple of gigs, I was super excited about. I spent a lot of time on them. I was paid $25 per painting. $25 per painting. And those were more than 10-hour paintings. So I was making, I don't know, what is it, $5 per hour? Not even. No, I was not making $5 per hour. I was making less than 5. I was making $2.5 per hour on my first 6 paintings. Not my first 6, but my first couple of actual paid gigs. I was doing a lot of freebies too, but that's not good. If you're starting now, don't do freebies. You can charge. You can give them a rate and then talk to them about discounts and whatever, but don't get freebies. So I was stupid. Gotta make all the mistakes to become somewhat good at this field, I guess. And then from $25, it sort of later on, because that's very tiring. No one should work for $25 per painting. That's really ridiculous. It became a little bit more, 50, and then I was working for some game developers, indie game developer back then, and we had Guy offered me 150 for 2. And that was a time where when people asked me to do things, I did them. I didn't ask questions, I didn't negotiate, didn't even ask them to give them a rate. But there was a time where I was just going completely crazy, and anyone with half a brain can call themselves an art director, and I'll respond to that, and they'll tell me what to do, and I'll do them. And after I finish the paintings, I'll send it to them, full files and everything, and ask them to pay me $150 for 2 paintings. That's my entire first and second year. There's no picking and choosing. Someone toss me a bone, I'm not gonna chew them out on if it tastes good or not, because I knew everyone needs to have a start point. Before this, I was moving boxes in an Italian spaghetti place. I worked 3 jobs to get myself out of college. And when I got out of college, I started working in games. So that was a weird time. I'm telling you this story because I don't think I had the talent to make it. But what I did have was I had my brain. I had an idea. I had a goal. I had a very clear idea of what I wanted to be after I graduate, and I had a very clear idea of where I wanted to go. I was not very comfortable. And I still think some of my best, more motivated years are not very comfortable. So in college, that was a war. That was a bit of a fight. I don't think everyone liked me, but I think some people did. And I have a lot of friends coming out of there, and I had a lot of people that didn't understand me. But I wanted to apologize about that. For being an arrogant prick. But that wasn't it. That was not what I wanted to be. When I graduated, I started working in games, and it was fun because that was an environment where I get to paint alongside with professional artists. And just going to work with these people every day was such a treat. I can't believe people are paying me to do this. It's just amazing, really. So I met Studio Cube. Actually, you guys should go online and do yourself a favor. Type in Studio Cube, Q-U-B-E. That's spelled Q-U-B-E with a Q, not a C. Studio Cube, Michael and Cyprian Kimiki brothers. These are the nicest people I know, and I still think they are some of the most talented designers, some of the most talented concept artists I have met ever in my life. And they're really underrated. So go to their gallery and start looking at their shit, because they have taught me a lot of stuff. Just that couple of months working with them has been an amazing experience, and they're my friends for life. They already know that. And yeah, and I go to their place. We have good food. They're crazy Polish food that I don't understand. It's been a ride, man. It's been a riot. After a while, I was going to all these conventions, and you hear me talking about conventions in my videos a little bit. Yeah, so I got picked up in Toronto. I got picked up in Fan Expo during the year that I first graduated, and I set up my table. I got all the prints here, everything, sitting there with my friend talking about life, and this guy, this guy he's a bit big, and this guy he walks over and he looks at my stuff, and we chat for a little while. He's like, "Oh, hey, nice paintings." I say, "Yay." Yeah, so we chat a little while. He asked me for my business card, and I gave it to him, and he says, "Oh, hey, yeah, write your number on the back." And I wrote my number on the back. And as he was walking away, people were actually grabbing him for autographs. So they're taking picture with this guy and getting autographs. So I was just sitting there thinking, whoa, what's going on? I had no idea. I didn't know who he was. I must be an idiot. And you know what? 2 days later, I got a call from Pacific Rim, and basically the producer that worked with Guillermo del Toro called me up and asked me if I wanted to work on a Guillermo del Toro movie. And I still didn't get it. I still didn't understand. I said yes, of course. I said yeah, of course, but I didn't understand what exactly it meant until I started working there about 3 days later, and I didn't have the chance to give my company the 2-week notice. I hope they're not listening right now. I hope not. Yeah, and I started working there, and I met Guillermo del Toro, and he is the guy that walked by my booth. He's the guy that I chatted with. He's the guy that came to me and asked for my card, and it still feels absolutely surreal. Years later, when I'm talking to you about this, the imagery is still there, and I still could not believe it, because I don't even think I was starstruck, because it never occurred to me. It just never really, in my sane mind, it never occurred to me that someone of that caliber would be so down to earth and just approach and talk. I mean, I was just sitting there selling my shitty prints for $15 a pop. It made no sense for any directors to talk to me, but that's what happened. That's exactly what happened, and I went out there and I learned a great deal. It's a new world for everything that I know about concept art, everything that I know about movies, set designing, illustrating. Everything on the job I had to relearn, because it was so different from a game production that even the structure of how things were done were completely new to me. So I rambled about all this, really, is to make a point where you don't have to have a great talent in the beginning to be able to do any of this stuff. You need to have clear goal. You need to know where you need to be, and I guess you gotta create luck a little bit. If I didn't go to every convention there was back then, I would not have met the people. I would not have the access, or they wouldn't have the access to me. So a lot of the times when artists are trying to make their name known, you have to be somewhat of a yes man. Yes, I will go to this convention. Yes, I will talk to that person. Yes, I will go to this job fair and make my presence known. If you don't do that, then how are people going to be able to approach you? If they don't know you, if they've never seen your art, they will never be able to say that, hey, you're a good artist. I could use someone like that. So a lot of the luck is self-made. You have to be able to meet them halfway. I can't be, because when I was in Sheridan, I had a couple of friends who are very good artists, and we all paint together. And we had this philosophy about, if you make the perfect portfolio, you will get a job. So that's what I graduated with. I was thinking, if I can just close my door and paint and just non-stop, and I just do this perfect goddamn portfolio, and it's gonna blow everyone away. But it'll take time, because I know it wasn't good enough, and I need to grind out all these techniques. I need to look at all these tutorials. I need to just shut the door and train, like one of those kung fu movies where you're training yourself to become this world master. And I realized, oh man, after doing a while of closed door training, this isn't really working out. Every time I go online and look at the CG Hub, or back then it was conceptart.org, And every time I go on there, I get so upset because everyone else is doing the same thing and they're doing it way better than I am. There's no way I can close the door and paint and just come out on top magically. That's not going to happen. Everyone else is also training. I'm not the only one with the idea. I'm not the only one with a portfolio. In fact, I will never have a perfect portfolio in my life. It's just not happening. So what I do have right now, after years of struggling and, sometimes questioning my methods, what I do have is a collection of items from my working experience. These should be the things that people keep in their portfolio as a reminder of what they did, as a reminder of what they're capable of. If you worked on a show, this is the show with your name attached to it. This is your CV, this is your resume. If you're just starting out, don't worry about making the perfect portfolio. No one's ever going to get there. Don't worry about making the perfect portfolio. Just start working. I started off with $25 per painting. I don't think you need to start that low. I think you guys are already way ahead of me. Just start working on things. These are the real world production experience that can get you ahead. If you're just so dead set on that 100% portfolio, it's gonna hold you back. It's not the school anymore. You don't get graded A+. You don't get even a D+. You get paid or you don't get paid. You get jobs or you don't get jobs. They choose you for this job over someone else, or someone else has your job and you don't have it. It's very realistic. And people say, oh, let your art speak for yourself. Well, there's that, but you can also help it along, You can also just, by being a nice guy, by being a decent artist, and by listening to what people want. You'll be amazed how many people don't fucking listen. Someone gives you something to do, you should be asking questions. You should be the one figuring out what they want, because they describe things to you in the way that they think, they articulate of their image. If something is not very clear to you, ask about it, So a lot of the times, I get 20 plus revisions from working on movie sets, and that's completely normal. I'm going off topic here, talking about how you should actually deal with revisions and stuff like that. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But try not to get too attached to your pieces and things like that. Getting experience is much more important. I think my point is to just start working. Start working on things that matters to people. Start working on things that creates value. If you don't have projects, then work on your own. Work on your own projects that creates value. If your project does not create value, then it's just an artwork. It's just an art piece. It looks nice. Maybe you can hang it on the walls, but try to go beyond that. Oh. So I spent a couple of years working in studios, and then there are a period of time where I'm jumping back and forth between concept art and matte painting, and also becoming a full-time illustrator for movies. It's a lot of jumping back and forth. There's a lot of supply for concept artists. Basically, every high school kid with a tablet can call themselves a concept artist. So you already understand how competitive this field is. You don't really need me to remind you that there's a lot of competition and there's a lot of people looking at this pie. How are you going to come out on top is what you're going to do next. And I doing all these videos talking about random shit is really here not really to help you so much as to be some sort of a guide, some sort of a stone on the path. You're going on this road, and these are all the information that you're going to get, and I'm just this little road sign on your path, and you can choose to listen, hear me out, or you can choose to ignore it, which is fine. You're gonna have to make your own decisions, because no one is going to carry you to your goals. Just like how I was there, minding my own business. You just gotta keep on walking and keep on doing what you do. Painting for yourself and painting for clients is a little bit different, I find. So when I do stuff like this, like you see me brushing everywhere, this is really relaxing for some of the reasons where you don't have a deadline, you don't need this painting to be goddamn good. You're just painting because it's like jogging. Painting this thing here is like jogging, because I know this is not gonna be one of the best paintings I've ever made. It's not gonna be game changing or anything like that. In fact, it's just a mess of custom brushes. And you're looking at me dabbing on these green here and making highlights over there. Some of these are conscious decisions that I have to make. A lot of these are actually, I don't know, just automatic. You know, you work out painting in the same way that you would work out your muscles. And sometimes you need to flex your muscles to do a 200-pound deadlift. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're just relaxing a bit and lifting a few dumbbells. And art is the same way. You don't have to give yourself such anxiety that this piece needs to be good. A lot of times I get that anxiety, because I'm not a patient guy, and I only have so limited of time. So when I start a painting, I don't start a painting thinking that it's going to be a bad painting. I don't start a painting thinking that it's going to be an okay painting. I start a painting thinking it's going to be the best goddamn painting I'm going to paint, but that's not what usually happens. And you got to be okay with it sometimes, you know. So don't be like me. Don't create this anxiety, this whole thing about, oh, I'm going to have to paint and this has got to be good. No, it doesn't have to be good. In fact, set out to paint a shitty painting. It's so relaxing. I wish I would do that today. I wish I can paint. Just set out to paint a shitty painting and throw it out. No one will ever see it. You're not going to get a single like out of this. You're not going to post it to Facebook, post it to, I don't know, YouTube. And be completely fine with it. Just be completely fine with painting a shitty painting. I think that will actually help you becoming a better artist. Because when you attach all this anxiety, all this, you know, need to prove yourself to your personal art pieces, then you just burden your way of advancing. You gotta be okay to say that this is just exploration. I'm just doing a study, and this is the only thing I care about. I'm gonna explore some textures. I'm gonna try something that I haven't tried before. Because if you're so stressed about making a good painting, then a lot of times is that I resort to the things I know best. I resort to the things. My roommate make fun of me for painting rocks all the time, and that was because when I was back multiple years ago, that's like all I painted, because I thought I was good at painting rocks, and that's all I painted. Every painting gonna have a little bit of rocks in it, and I felt, oh, those are good rocks. I'm gonna put my good rocks in my shitty painting so that my shitty painting looks a little bit better. That's not really helpful, you know. Sometimes you gotta change it up. Sometimes you just gotta do something really bad. I made some, so I started making these video tutorials, and not this one. This is not really a video tutorial. This is really just like a, I don't know what it is, painting blog, like a paint blog, plog. And I find the best way to actually make all this information, sort them all out, is to actually teach. So I've gotten a little bit more comfortable teaching over the years. I'm never really a very good public speaker or someone who's really outspoken, just can't wait to talk to people. No, I was mostly the opposite from that. So to do this, I tried to become a peer tutor in Sheridan. What you're supposed to do is you gotta tutor, one guy at a time, and then you tutor them for an hour. They sign your sheet, you write it down, the time you started, you ended, and you get paid, I don't know, I think a $10 per hour for doing that, which is a okay deal. It's not bad, You're in college, you're making $10 per hour, that's okay. And then I started to get, more students, and I wanted to put them all in the same time. So I started to cheat a little bit on my timesheets, because you're only supposed to do one-on-one, and now I was doing like 10 guys at the same time. And they write down their time and just teaching a class, basically. And then after that, I thought, oh, teaching is fun. I taught Flash before. I've taught, live drawing, painting, and Sheridan. And then after I graduated, I actually taught in Centennial College matte painting. And that was quite interesting. They gave me 2 semesters until I had to come to Vancouver. So that was really fun. I still miss teaching, and I had a lot of good students in those classes, a lot of very talented artists, and I was really hoping that they will find their place. They will sort of find what they wanted to do, because it's a very 3D heavy course they had. So the programs they were using were a lot of Maya and 3D programs. I don't really use that much 3D in my workplace, mostly because the 3Ds are either provided for me or it's just not really required, at least for the couple of jobs that I had to do. So teaching is something that I now enjoy doing, and I enjoy answering questions from the people that I'm trying to help. And really, I have a lot of good students that I keep in contact with, and they will send me emails, and I'll reply to all these things. So if you guys are watching the video, this is a invitation for you guys to ask me anything you want. Basically, I think I'm a pretty good sport about answering anything. There's no secrets, and there's nothing I can tell you that you don't know already. If you want to try me on that, it's your call. When I was personally very puzzled about my career decisions, I had to email a couple of very high visible people, and these are the guys that I still look up to and really appreciate, because they're super cool about it. They take their time being truthful, and they answer questions that I thought was important to me, and at this time it helped me decide in what directions that I was going to go. So these are the things that I had no idea about. I didn't know how much to charge for, freelance projects. I didn't know if I should go into matte painting or not, or I didn't know if I should come to Vancouver or not. So a lot of the times, I think school is much more simple than being a professional artist working in the field. You gotta deal with everything. You got to deal with clients, deal with contracts, and when you make it your full-time job being a freelance artist, then you're gonna need a lawyer, you're gonna need someone to look over your contracts, someone to like a collection agency or someone to collect, things that you never thought you'd need to worry about before, things that has nothing to do with art, things that has everything to do with business and accounting and things like that, it became part of what you do. So, there's some recommendations on books to read for artists that has nothing to do with art. I would recommend you guys to look into that as well, especially if you are serious about doing this. Then this becomes a very serious issue for you as well as it is for me, because there has been cases that I have not been paid for a month after the completion of any given project. And I'm not talking about scums, obviously. I'm talking about people that had big time publishers, well-established companies, good studios with excellent projects. These people are not exempt from the rules, and I'm not saying that it's not good, don't work for them. I'm saying that even the most trustworthy people, they take their time sometimes in paying. So as artists, you gotta be empowered to deal with that. Because I remember when I didn't get paid, what I did was to write a very heart-wrenching letter explaining that I need to pay my rent. And you know where that letter is going to go? Probably in the spam folder. Never got a reply out of the 2 letters that I wrote. So I think, you may argue this, I hope you don't, is that a lawyer letter is much more useful than my rambling, heart-wrenching letter about my rent. So that's why you need to deal with this sooner or later. If this is something that you want to do, then this is something that's will gradually get more serious. So my painting here really just mess of colors. You choose one color to start with, and then you get your layers in, and then paint that little tube, little mech, adding a bit of highlights to make them pop out. When you're first starting out, I don't think you need to worry too much about how much people are paying you, as much as if the project is good, or if the project helps you. Because when you get stuck too early thinking about money, it will actually waste a lot of your time. What I mean is, it's much better to choose something with a project where it's going to teach you things. It's going to allow you to learn and grow as an artist over things that's just a steady income. It's one of the reasons why I left Toronto and I left my studio jobs to come here and start my own studio, and I start to do things that's more of my personal paintings, and I take contracts. When I work in the studio environment, I was actually working more than 12 hours a day, and having a bad art job is arguably worse than having a bad labor job. When I was moving boxes at the Italian cafe, all I can think about is that I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna paint, I'm gonna draw something that's like what I've been thinking about all day. But if you're just so tired out from being asked to be creative for 12 hours a day, there's no way in hell you're gonna go home and think I wanna paint more. So if you're, I don't know if you're compare this to, say, maybe working in the game studio, or if you're working in, for me it was matte painting that really crossed the line for me. But if you're just working studio job, any kind of studio job really, and you're asked to be creative for 12 hours a day, I don't think it's really that possible. Even when I was working 12 to 16 hours doing concepts, a lot of these became technical renderings rather. It's when I actually decide to be exploration, to explore and be creative, it takes a lot out of your energy. You ended up actually eating more, and because you're wasting all your brain juice, or I don't know what's the scientific way to explain it, but it makes you so tired that you go home and you crash. And I don't even want to play games after. I don't know if this is bad, but over the years I've grown a little bit further away from games in a way that I used to sit down and play games through in one sitting when I was slightly younger. I don't want to say I'm too old right now. I'm actually okay, but now I don't do that. Not because I don't have time, but I don't know, because I don't have the energy and just the willpower to do it. After a long day at work, you come home and sometimes you just want to sleep. You don't want to paint another personal piece. In fact, when I was working full-time studio jobs, I didn't paint another piece until a month later. I didn't have 3 to 5 pieces to show for an entire year. And the things you do for studios, you can't show them until it's already probably too late and irrelevant. Well, maybe for movies it's okay, because when the movie come out, you can show a little bit. But man, if it's games, God forbid if the game doesn't come out, you just wasted 3 years of your time. So that's when I was talking about, if you work for a company that's gonna give you a stable income, you gotta weigh the options, you gotta weigh the risk. What if you're working on something that doesn't really come out, or if you work on something that's gonna be NDA'd forever? How are you gonna do your own shit? If you don't do your own shit, how are you gonna progress as an artist in this field, right? You want people to look at your art. You want people to look at your good art. And you want to be able to become a better artist, so you keep on making better art. How are you going to do that if you have a 12-hour day job and the art director tells you to do things that you're just doing because it helps the project, which is very good. It's your job. You should never complain about your job. But it makes it very difficult for you to do your own thing. That's what I'm saying, because it happened to me, and I'm constantly struggling with it. And it's not easy, man. When I get a bit of time to paint my own stuff, I'm so happy, because it's really a luxury. What's the most expensive painting that I've done? My own things, obviously. When you do things for other people, people are paying you to do them. It's awesome, You get paid at work. You're in a studio. It's great, You go to the bathroom and take a shit. People are paying you for your time on the toilet. It's awesome. Working studio job is so great. It's sweet. But you come home all tired. You don't want to paint another fucking brushstroke. So when you do that, you gotta have the willpower to sometimes say, fuck it. I'm just gonna push as hard as I can on this painting that's for work. But don't get me wrong, though. I'm not saying that if you work in studio job that you're not getting better. In fact, there's some really great ways for you to get better working studio jobs, and you can be completely happy. And if you're that person, you're way luckier than I am. If you get a good project and you're working alongside with concept artists, and you guys are just pushing and pulling, and you're doing great goddamn designs, then all the power to you. I want to know the name of that studio, and please accept my resume. But if you're not doing that, then you got to think about how to progress as an artist. I know this is something that it'll come back to me over and over again. So I just want to give, if some people are not there yet, I want to give you guys a heads up. The other thing I want to talk about is, I guess I'm getting a little bit more into like actual work ethic and stuff like that. But artists actually have a pretty high turnover rate in terms of how long they get kept on the show, especially if you work in movies. Then your usual contract is like 3 months to 4 months at most, and then after that you got to think about talking to people and securing your next contract, and you're going to be moving around a lot. So I right now I take contract from LA, from Toronto, from Vancouver. So I'm actually on the run quite a bit. But then it becomes difficult. It's for say if you want to have a stable lifestyle, or if you want to have a girlfriend and just stay in one place, then maybe you gotta think about how you're gonna manage your time, how you're gonna manage your projects and things like that. Luckily for me, I have neither. So this is the time where I block out, actually, because it's such a luxury that I actually block out this entire 5 or 6 month to just dedicate to doing my own things. Sometimes you plan for that, sometimes you don't have the luxury to plan because you need to feed yourself. Great. I said no to some jobs in Toronto to come here, and it's been quite a surprising ride. Met some new friends. So the other thing I want to talk about actually is that I'm thankful for some of the people that I met along the way, and these are the people that gave me the courage to do what I do. And in this field, if you want to make it, you gotta have some courage also. Skill is important, but skill is far from the only thing, really. What I mean by courage is that you need to be able to make the right decisions. And to make the right decisions means that you gotta have the foresight, and you gotta have the courage. Sometimes you gotta pack up your bags and go. Sometimes you just gotta grab a suitcase, bring a monitor if you need to, and just go to a different place. If that place has a job that suits you better, don't be afraid to say, fuck it, I'm going. I'm leaving today. I'm packing my shit. Because opportunities, they come once in a while. Everyone's gonna have some opportunities. But if you're stuck deciding, if you're stuck thinking, oh, should I do this? But I'm so comfortable already. I'm so golden. I'm making bucks. I'm okay. I'm just sitting here minding my own business, and I'm playing games every day. This is fine. This is great. My life is awesome. Or, you gotta weigh your options and say, does that choice have more of a potential for me to grow? I was comfortably living in Toronto for quite a while, and I disappeared to a lot of the artist friends that I was with. So I graduated, and then I found a good job or whatever, and I just disappeared doing what I was doing. Studio job, awesome, great, sweet. Nothing's happening for 2 years. Get some more stuff on my resume. No one cares. But I think I lost something in all that time. I lost the courage. I lost the will to fight. Every day I wake up, do a little stretching, and fight. Like it was back in Sheridan. Don't have that anymore. Why? I don't know. Why is my most productive years behind me? That doesn't make sense. Come on. Of course it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, but it happens because I got too comfortable. And you could too. Everybody, when they get their first or second job and they get comfortable, they buy nice things and then they settle down. Cool, awesome, more power to you. If that's your life decision, then sure. Different people have different paths. That's completely normal. I could have very, very easily settled down on that. But, having the courage to pack your bag and go, it's another thing that I think has been very rewarding. And if I haven't done that, or if I've been held back, then I would never have started, things that I have right now. I want to leave this video on a good note and say that everyone that's watching this video, you're watching it obviously for your own reasons, and I can guess that you also have interest in art and you want to be a good artist, or you're just checking me out and I'm a really handsome looking guy. That's fine too. I don't mind that. But I wish you take into what I said into account, that we're all here to do one thing. We're all here to become a better artist. And we're all here to progress in our field. We're here to become a better person as well. Because you can't be a good artist if you're not a good person. I seriously mean that. You cannot make the progress that you want to make in this field, in this industry, if you're not a decent guy. Because words travel, and this is a very small field. And a lot of this job people been throwing around has been word of mouth. I haven't had to, for film, I haven't had to submit a lot of resumes, only because the people I work with, I leave a good impression. I do my job well, and they don't ask a lot. They really do not. It's just you show up on your job, and then you do exactly what you're asked for, and you do it well, and you go above and beyond when you need to, and you stick to your guns when you don't. That's what's required of you. How difficult is that? They're paying you to paint. They're paying you to design. That's something that's like you can even make a shitty design and they won't fire you, because if you tried your best, if this is you making a genuine effort, then that's fine either. This is not even iBanking. You lose like $2 million, you're fucked. Your career's over. No, it's not that. You're not even a doctor. You're not even cutting people's head open, and if you make a mistake, you're finished. No, you're not. You're making art. How awesome is that? You can't fuck up. You literally cannot. The only way that you can fuck up is, like I said, if you're not a decent person and you're a bit of an asshole about it. So don't do that. How easy is that? Right? So watch some videos, get some more ideas, buy some good books, read them, paint them. That's really all you need to do. The only thing is don't stop. Oh, and also go for a run. When you're out of ideas, what I do is I started to go for walks, and then when walks wasn't cutting it, you just go for a run, because it's a good exercise all in its own. And it actually helps your creativity. It helps your brain working more in a way that you get pumped up, and then you get more energy out of nowhere, and you start thinking more about, hey, wouldn't it be cool if I did this and that? So it's a motivational thing. Even though the doctors prescribe running to depressed people, so I guess if you're depressed, you need to run. I'm not really depressed, but I still run, and I feel much better. So just go get off your couch, and if you don't feel like painting, and you don't feel like working, and you don't feel like anything, just go for a short walk. Just skip the McDonald's and just walk around the block and come back and paint something. It's actually quite useful. I have talked for a really long time, and this video is still not over. So we're actually sitting on the 1 hour point, and I would say this is pretty close. Just gonna mess around with my custom brushes a bit. I got these set many years ago. I think I still kept Matea's brushes, and Baron Terry's brushes are pretty good. Man, these are a long time ago. Basically, these are the brushes I think I started off with. So yeah, they really carries a lot of value. I'm really thankful for these guys that came before me. And it's basically you have the pioneers, the people that did it first, and they do it well, and their name are so relevant, and you wonder about something that they really did right, and it gets carried on. So I have respect for these people, and also the people that came after as well, because there are a lot of people graduating as concept artists. There's a lot of people graduating as designers, and it's just a generation after generation of people fighting each other, trying to get their own place in the field. And I respect all of it, because this is what we're designed to do, and we all pick this path for a reason, because we like it. for me, I can't do much else. So here it is, guys. Paint and enjoy, and be able to say that this is something that defines who I am, and this is something that helps me get to my goals. Depending on who you are, everybody have different goals, but just have a very clear idea of how you're going to get there. My entire rambling has been about working and sustaining a productive lifestyle. So I'm gonna bid you guys goodbye and say that, hey, been awesome, and come back next time when I do another blog, painting blog. And I'm gonna stop the video and tell everyone to have a good night. Come back, check out my other videos on my Gumroad channel. There's Sci-Fi City. So that's a midnight drive. It's called Midnight Drive. So I'd go to these drives and I imagine the city with all these lights, and I paint the scene that I imagine in my head. So check it out. It's 5 hours to 6 hour worth of painting sped up and compressed into 1.5 hours of full audio commentary. Me and my roommate, who's a very good painter and animator himself, whose name I will remain to be anonymous, but we just talk about everything that we care about, and then we go through the entire painting process, explaining the composition, to how to develop these buildings, to creating reflections, and just making the right decisions along the way. So every decision that I make in that painting, I will explain that to you and tell you, this is how I got from point A to point B, and this is how that this painting has came about. So you'll see all the struggles that I do finishing a painting like that, and it'll be very real to you. So come back, check it out, and thank you guys, and I'll see you guys next time.